Hey everyone, it's Nikki from the Sicilian Scholars, and today we're going to take a brief look at the 2024 film, The Woman in the Yard. The Woman in the Yard centers around a mother who is raising her two kids, a boy around 14 or 15, and a daughter who is around, say, 7 or 8. And they live on an isolated farm. And to give a backstory of the mother and the kids being there is that the father had bought some land and he had built a house on this land. But before he could finish it, the mother and the father were in a car accident, which took the life of the father. But the mother only suffered an injury to her leg. So now she is left on this big farm to finish what the husband started and raising these two kids. And it looks like a very peaceful place. I think anywhere isolated away from the city and all that is really a nice place to be. And the house is it's very welcoming. Even though, obviously we're not physically there, but you can see the house is welcoming and it's a comfortable place as any house is. It's supposed to be comfortable and it's supposed to be safe, and that's what the inside of the house represents. But then we have a problem with the outside of the house, and that's this woman that shows up on their lawn just sitting there. She's dressed in black veil, a long black veil, long black dress, and we can't see her face. The veil is dark that we can't see her face. We can't see anything physical about her. As I mentioned, all we see is the veil and the dress. So the mother, I believe it's the son that noticed that the woman was out there. And then the mother goes out and she does what any of us would do when we see somebody strange on our yard, is she asks the woman if she needs help. The woman doesn't say anything. Is there anything I can do for you? The woman says nothing. She asks some more yes or no questions, and I think, a few other questions. And the woman says nothing. She just sits there completely still, motionless. And so the woman is, the mother's like, okay, well, whatever. She doesn't say that, but I'm sure you can imagine what she's thinking. So she decides just to go back in the house, but she backs up slowly when she's going back to the house, which I don't blame her. And when she gets inside, the son asks, well, what's going on? What's with this woman? The mother says she doesn't know. She's not saying anything. So they kind of leave it be for a little bit. And soon they're in the living room. The daughter's doing her homework. The mother is just relaxing on the couch. And the son is sitting in a chair by the window. Everybody has fallen asleep, I think, except for the daughter. The mother and the son has fallen asleep. And it's a little bit later, and I think it's getting into, if I remember correctly, it's getting into dusk. And when the son looks out the window, the woman is no longer at a distance. She's actually closer to the window. And of course, it scares the bejeebies out of the son and definitely the mother. And they're still trying to figure out what's going on with this woman. And that's kind of the basis of the film, is this woman and her reasoning being there and why she's so still, why she's so quiet. And as the movie progresses, it does build more tension between the family and this woman. And as I mentioned, because the family is inside, that represents safety and it represents comfort. But then when we start going outside, then we have the woman and the wondering, the uncomfortableness. And because now that woman has brought that outside atmosphere inside the house, which makes things, I would say it makes things bad, because I know I'm repeating myself, but you're supposed to feel comfortable and safe in your house, and now they don't. And there's nothing they can do about it because they don't know what's going on. So they do the best they can. They try to figure things out. They just try to do things. And this film does an excellent job with having the tension, having the uncomfortableness, and not having so much as jump scares. Now, there are a few jump scares within the film, but the movie does not focus on that. It focuses on, as I mentioned, the tension and the uncomfortableness of everything that's going on. And as the film progresses, more physical things start happening, to why the woman's there and the connection to her and the mother's past starts coming together. And also, the woman ends up telling the mother why she's there and all this other stuff. And as I mentioned, it comes together. The movie starts putting the pieces together while at the same time making everything more confusing. And this is definitely one of those films you have to sit there and you have to listen to what's going on. You have to watch what's going on. And you have to pay attention to things within the scene of the film. So if you pay attention, you can see things start to happen. You see stories come together, especially when the mother and the kids get to a certain part of the house. Things sort of come together, but they don't. As I mentioned, the pieces start coming together, while at the same time, it becomes more uncomfortable, more tension, and more questioning of everything. I enjoyed the film. I had to see the film twice because the first time I watched it, I didn't care for it. I didn't really pay attention to what was going on. And it is a slow burn film. So if you like psychological horror films that have a slow burn, you'll enjoy this one. And it does take everything very slowly until it's almost like going up that hill. And then once you reach the top of that hill, now you have the steep you have to go down. And that's what happens with this movie. It starts taking you down this steep hill and everything just explodes to where secrets come out about the past of the mother. Secrets come out about the mother and the father when they went out to dinner that night, and on their way home, the accident that killed the father, but the mother only suffered an injured leg. Things come out about that particular night. And as I mentioned, things come out about the mother's past. And just a whole bunch of stuff ends up coming out once we start hitting the top of that hill and going down. I do recommend it. As I mentioned, it's slow, it's a slow burn, but I do recommend it. But when you watch it, pay attention to everything from the very beginning of the film to the very end. You'll find it enjoyable. And with it being a psychological film, it's very much, I would call it a thinking film. You have to think about things. You just have to think about things. And that's it. I'm sorry my reviews end up a little goofy, but if a lot of you knows, I have functional neurological disorder. And one of the things that it causes is cognitive issues to where focusing is very hard for those of us with the disorder has a hard time doing. So I try to do these reviews as best as possible, and I hope I did all right with this one. If I did, please let me know. And if you have any suggestions, let me know because I'm always looking for ways to improve in my film reviews. I'm always looking for recommendations for films to watch and review. And I really appreciate everyone that watches my reviews. And I hope I do get more subscribers. So if you're not subscribed already, please do so. And if you like the review, please give me a like. I would greatly appreciate it. I'm trying to build this channel even more, so you guys are part of helping me build it. And as I always say, please have a good morning, a good afternoon, or a good evening. It all depends on where you are. Ciao.